exactly. Now, we make sure in those moments we're using our soft power and saying, like, well, I do a lot in my work. What we're doing is helping children develop their minds and bodies to be successful people, healthy individuals who know how to make friends, who can participate in a democracy, and that's all sorts of early childhood. And here's how I do it. And they can go into this field about blocks, making friends, and all that, and how it fits together. So that, helping the friends with them, we can do that. In this part of your program, so where I work, we're part of a larger office building, and the pictures you see over here, there's a picture of an art display we put on the floor of the office building. The kids' artwork, a little right up what the kids were doing and what they were learning. That right there is not a political statement overtly, but it is. It's telling people's office building, and these are the kids' works, this is what they're doing, why it's valuable, and what they're learning. So in a way, it's using that soft power to kind of slowly get it out there, what you're doing and why it's important to the field. You also can just explain to anybody who you're talking to, whether, again, dinner parties, friends and family, what's going on and what's important about what you're doing. What's also very important, for Amy, which we'll talk about a little bit as well, is getting to know your local representatives. So oftentimes when we think about politics, people come into our minds are Trump or Bushes or Obama, Clinton, these big kind of far away famous people. But the most important part of politics happens on the local level. Everyone know Tip O'Neill? Ever heard of Tip O'Neill before? So he was a Speaker of the House in the 80s, early 90s, or 70s and 80s, and early 90s based in Massachusetts. He used to always say all politics is local. And that is true. Your whatever town you live in, whatever city you live in, your state reps and all that, the easiest and best way to make change is by getting a relationship with them. And it needs to be a reciprocal relationship. You're listening to them, and they're listening to you. And what's great about that, the people on that state level, they're pretty down-to-earth people. My state rep, John Peck, is a pretty unassuming guy. I can talk to him, there's not a scary experience. More than likely, your city and town reps are probably the same way. People you can talk to, and they want to hear from you. You're their boss. Never forget that. And especially at the local level, your one vote could swing an election for them. So they really want you to feel like they're heard and actually have experiences talking to them. So get to know them over time. You can do that different ways. So there's this link over here, and I will try to, anyone who wants to, pass my cards, email the PowerPoint later. You can find out where you vote, try and find out who your representatives are, what their office hours are. They're all required to have office hours. We have to sit down and meet with people. We send the emails to them, and then know their aides and people like that who work for them, build a relationship with them as well. And then making sure that you're always following up with them. So a lot of times, if you send them an email, then go to office hours and talk about that email. Or meet them face-to-face someplace, and afterwards have a discussion about it. It doesn't have to be in office hours. Politicians are oftentimes at different events. There was a recycling, I lived in Watertown, there was a Watertown cleanup event recently, and a lot of local politicians were there. Even when I'm going there, I introduce myself, see my face, they remember me, and send an email saying, oh, remember I helped you with the recycling event, I'm a pre-K teacher, here's my concern. And there's no chance they will remember you, because their whole thing of politicians, they want to make sure they know their constituents, and they give feedback and all that. So build a relationship, talk to them, get them to tip back to you, make sure they know who you are over time.
I would add appointed officials, right? The Commissioner of Early Education here, the secretary. Go up to people and introduce yourself. I have been with people where I have brought them with me so that they can talk to them. If every single person sitting in this room right now emailed your state senator, there are only 40 state senators in this Commonwealth. If every single person emailed their senator between today and Monday morning, and they all showed up for work on Monday morning, they would say, were Amy and Teddy out talking to people? Because I just got 4 emails. And you don't need hundreds of emails. If they get 3 or 4 emails about something, they are like, just like the parent. If one parent keeps complaining in your program, what do you think? That crazy parent, right? If 3 people say something to you, you might do some investigation. If 10 people said to you within 3 hours the same thing, you'd make that your top priority. But we wait for someone else to do it. We wait for Teddy to do it because Teddy's that guy who loves to do advocacy. Right? We can't wait for Teddy to do it. So if you I will follow up with each of you. No, I can't. But in your conscience, just introduce yourself. Dear Senator Moore, my name is Amy. I live here. I care about young children and families. Can you tell me what you're doing to support them? That's all it has to be.
Very basic. Similar to Department of Education and Care. Whenever new policies come out, there's monthly meetings you can go to. It stinks. The meetings oftentimes in the middle of the day. I want to go to meetings, but a lot of times I'm getting duffel money, so I can't go to the meeting at that moment. So You can send them public comment periods, you can send them emails, contact them through actually calling them when you're able to actually attend a meeting, and make sure their voice is being heard there. So I'm sure at some point in your time you probably, why is this the policy? Why is licensor saying this? Again, these are good people trying to make your lives better and easier. They work very, very hard. But a lot of times they just don't know what's happening in the classroom any given day. So you need to make sure they're getting that feedback and know how those policies are actually being lived by teachers. Because if nobody tells them, they don't know. And they want to help you. They want to do a good job. No one's working in the Department of Education and Care going, I want to make all your lives miserable all day. They want to do a good job. They want to make your lives better. But you need to help them learn how, because they might not know what's going on in your actual classroom day to day. So make sure you're up to date with them. Get in their email list, keep you interested and all that. Making sure you're finding out what's going on. They've actually recently updated their website. They're trying to do a lot of new things. So now's a great time to do it because they really are trying to better how they communicate with people in the field.
They have their board meetings on the second Tuesday between 1 and 4.
Yeah.
But what I was thinking, if somebody here organized a watch party during nap time, even if 2 teachers could go watch, right? You do have to think about ways to be creative. If they see a pickup like, a lot more people are streaming the board meetings, then you at least, even if you can't be there in person, even if it's one person from your staff, watch it, that's their job for those hours, you're participating in a different way. Then they come back and say, oh my God, they talked about this, this, and this. So just thinking about where you are sitting right now and how you can participate. And sometimes it does take a teacher gets to go and the director covers the classroom. However you can think creatively about making sure you're at least paying attention and believing that you belong sitting at that table.
So another thing to do is actually think about the political parties and how they shape their platform. So I'm not going to tell you here to be a Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Green Party, Socialist, whatever you want to be, that's fine. Because all those parties can find ways to make early child education part of their platform. And here's the thing. Those parties, they all have monthly meetings. In their local meetings, usually in a town or a district in your city or something like that. Now, those meetings are places where the party platform is shaped. And what I mean by that, if you're running for office, most people don't think about every policy, every last possible thing. They kind of rely on, okay, if I'm a Democrat, I'm going to use these policies recommended by the Democratic Party and kind of go along with them. Or if I'm a Republican or Green or whatever, I'm going to kind of follow on the general party platform. At these town meetings, in your local towns and cities, they discuss stuff like this. And what also happens, a lot of times candidates and local officials go to these meetings and they talk to you one-on-one. And here's the thing, if you're at those meetings, those candidates and local officials, they know you're involved. They know you're going to vote. They know you're going to talk to people. So they especially want to hear from you and kind of get those feedback from you. So it's important to try to figure out how to get to those meetings and all that. So again, I have a little link on my PowerPoint here, and I can try to email to anyone who's interested whether they're on to kind of figure out how to get to those meetings, your state caucuses and local elections and local town meetings. So we all think about old media, meaning newspapers and things like that, and it's dying. In a way, it is, unfortunately. If anyone who knows anything about the Boston Globe or Herald, they're not what they used to be. They've had a lot of budget cuts and things like that. Even the local town papers, some of them have gone, or some of the Boston Phoenix and the better newspapers went out just a couple weeks ago. Here's the thing, even though they're not as important as they used to be, they're still important. The Boston Globe, Boston Herald, other newspapers across the country, they still can shape stories a lot as well. And here's the thing, because they have less budgets, especially the local town ones, and local smaller city ones, they're always looking for people to kind of help them out. If you write a letter to an editor about early child education, there's a good chance they're going to publish it because they need content. They might publish it online, they might publish it in their actual print version of the newspaper, but they need somebody to write. My local paper in Watertown, it's like one person who runs the whole thing. I'm not even exaggerating. So when I write letters to an editor, he's like, great, I'll publish it because that means one less thing I have to write to fill up the space that I'm trying to do. So, 3 people, guys. So things like that. It's very small how everything goes there. So they get published and things like that. So social media, it's not just for showing off the cool meal you just made. You know, they can do for that too. That's perfectly fine. Not judging. You also can use it for advocacy. So in the picture up here, for those who can see it, who am I standing next to? Who's that next to me in the picture up? There's a top picture. Anyone can see that? Commissioner Tom Weber. So Tom Weber's the commissioner for about 6-7 years now, and he's actually stepping down in June. A lot of you might already know that. But here's the thing. About 6 years ago, in this exact room, Tom Weber was in here, After he gave a little talk, he was one of the presenters. I was part of Core One. I came up and introduced myself. I go, I'm Teddy Kokoros, nice to meet you and all that. He looked at me and he goes, you're the guy who's always tweeting at me. Now here's the thing, I wasn't tweeting at his personal account. I was tweeting at the account of the Massachusetts Department of Early Education and Care. And I actually assumed it was the intern who ran that account and looked at it. But apparently he actually looks at it as well. He actually has it on his phone, he looks at it. So when I send him 20 tweets a week, he sees those 20 tweets a week. So you all can do the same thing. You can follow the Department of Education and Care. When all of you did the lessons learned this morning, I already videotaped that and tweeted it at him. So hopefully they'll see that in all your talks from 3 or 4 hours ago. So all those type of things, if you tweet at people, whether it's Department of Education and Care, your state rep and all that, they may see it. Even Facebook has a feature that you can follow your local reps and all that, and there'll be a little badge next to your name if you comment there, and they'll stay constituent, and they'll know that you live in their district, and they have to listen to what you're saying in the moment. So it's another way to kind of spread information. You also could kind of focus on disseminating information just to friends and family. I'm sure, who here has Facebook? Raise your hand. Who here has Instagram? Twitter? So, all of you, I'm sure, have hundreds of followers. So, between all of you, hundreds or maybe thousands of followers, if we add those together, that's tens of thousands of people. What if all those people hear about what we're talking about today? Make sure they hear that. Tweet out what we're saying. Put it in our Facebook. Make an Instagram caption. One of the groups early this morning, create an Instagram group, follow that, and help them out promoting stuff. Because people, they see stuff, and they get more information just by, they're going around scrolling, they'll see interesting articles saying, oh, what's this about play-based education? They maybe didn't learn about it, they'll click on it, and they'll get that more information about it. So another way to get your message out there. There's also things like blogs and websites and things you can do. So I recommend start your own early education blog. Get your voice heard out there. If you don't want to start one yourself, I have one. You can write for me whatever you want. I'm 100% serious. You can write your papers. The picture I have up there, those are all pictures of people who, some of them in this room right now, who have written on my website the past 6 months, and a lot of them are PMC alums as well. Write an article. You have a paper that you wrote in class that you love, you want to publish it so people can see it, let me know, I'll publish it for you. I do interviews as well. Amy does the Voices from the Field feature, which we'll talk about later on her website as well. There are ways to get your voices out there, and it can look very official. So I'll share a story about Anne. I can't see, where is Anne Douglas? Anne Douglas. So she told me a story on the phone a week and a half ago. I did a blog post about the 10 most important early education, or 10 prominent early education people in the Boston area or something like that. And Anne was on it. And somebody contacted her and said, congratulations for making that list. Now, here's the thing. I'm nobody. I don't put it like, I'm just a... No. Yes. So, I'm getting to that. So, in some ways, when I mean nobody, in some ways I'm not like in any way a famous person. Nobody knows who I am. But here's the thing. By able to posting something on there with the banner of earlyeducation.com, people look at it and this is an official source. So congratulations to Anne for being there. So I posted things on there. People talk to me about not realizing it was me. So there's ways to get information out there through blogs, there's mine, through Amy's, other ways just to get your voice heard in different ways through social media, blogging, Facebook, Twitter. Just make sure any way possible that your voice is getting out there. Because if your voice is not out there, someone else's voice is getting out there, and they're going to say something different. They're going to focus on a different issue, and that's going to get the media coverage, and that's going to get the politicians' attention. So last we'll talk a little about hard power. So this is kind of a little more uncomfortable, but sometimes we have to kind of get a little more aggressive. So when it comes to things like protests, sometimes it's like, oh, I don't want to protest about my type. Sometimes that's the only way to actually get your voice heard, because you might be getting ignored. Was anyone at the rally Thursday night? So there was a Fund Our Future rally in the State House, Massachusetts. There was also a play date protest out front where kids were at as well on Thursday night. There were like thousands of teachers there. They were at the State House. People, they had to hear it. There's no way people who were working in the State House could avoid hearing it, because they were literally right there where they were hearing their voices on microphones, posters, and all that. Sometimes you actually need to make sure, again, people out there, make sure your voice is heard by the general public and politicians and policymakers. Similar things like unions and strikes, they work. Stop and Shop workers about a couple, 3 weeks ago, they won. They won a strike and they won. Teachers all across this country, in Virginia, I think Kentucky, California, in Detroit, people have been striking in past couple of years, and they're winning, and they're getting more concessions and more money and things like that. We're a fragmented field, and it's hard, but we need to be better, whether it's through official unions or just more cohesive, that our power is unified, so people have to listen to us. When it comes to nurses and public school teachers, politicians always listen to them because they know they vote in big groups, they might strike, they make their voices heard. We need to make sure we're just as powerful getting our voices heard out there. Money and advertising. Sometimes you guys actually donate to somebody you care about, or donate to something you care about, or create an ad yourself, make sure it gets out there. With modern technology and like iPhones and media and all that, it's ever easier to create a little advertisement, or a little story or song, and put it online somewhere for people to see it. And last and most importantly, we need to run for office ourselves sometimes. The amount of people who are in office who are former preschool teachers is a pretty small number. Like Patty Murray, I think, the senator from Washington State, she used to be a preschool teacher. There's a few other ones here and there. The vast majority of them aren't thinking about preschool teachers' perspective, or child care, what it's like to be in a kindergarten classroom. So sometimes we need people from our actual field to be in office. So I encourage you, I don't care if it's a local town council or city council or state or anything like that, we need to get more people who are preschool teacher experience in office. And I'll say, it probably shouldn't be me. And I mean by that, there is a lot of people who are like me in running for office in all these times. I gave a joke to my friend Erica a little while ago. I said, this is my Beto worker costume. This is kind of just like Beto today, kind of look like a politician and all that. But my voice, meaning white men's voice like me, is predominantly way too much heard when it comes to political debate throughout our country's history. So we need more women, more people of color to get into office, and I and others will help you kind of get there. If you need help, whether it's fundraising, getting your name out there, please let me know after if you want to vote, and I will help you do it. Thing, whether it's running for office or in your trying to get your voice heard. This is my last little piece of advice, my own experience. It's okay to embrace a little bit of the BS in politics, excuse my language. But when it comes to politics, it's real life. There's a little bit of theater involved too. It's hard to see the pictures, but the two bottom people over there, one is Jesse the Body Ventura, the other one is Demon King. They were both pro wrestlers in the past. One of them, Demon Kane, is now the governor, the mayor of Knoxville, Tennessee. The other one was the governor of Minnesota for a while. The reason I put them up there is because pro wrestling is a silly thing where it's both a mixture of reality and fantasy. Politics is a little bit like that as well. All politicians up there, Obama, Warren, Trump, Michelle Wu, Bush, and all that, they have their real-life personality, and they have their politics personality. About 15 years ago, 2004, Obama gave his first speech not too far from here at TD Garden, and he went, there's not white America, there's not one black America, there's one United States of America. He did this rousing speech and all that. I bet you anything, he practiced making that speech for 20 years before he got to that point. He created an Obama character when he was trying to advocate for office. He's a real person, but he also created a kind of character version of himself. And you see Patsy Ortiz, the speaking one above recently, she's been a great advocate. She's good at being able to tell her story and say, this is my story. I used to be a waitress. I was in the Bronx, and here I am. That's her real story. She's also trying to train character, which allows her to advocate. Even someone like Trump, he has his own Trump character that he plays when he's in public office that kind of gets some attention. Same with George, the Bush family. The Bushes, he goes, I'm from Texas and all that. He grew up around here with the private schools and all that. We created a Texas character as he's running. It's okay to, just the same way, who here's ever read The Three Little Pigs with Four Kids? When you're the big bad wolf, do you say, I'll huff and I'll puff and blow your house down? Or do you say, I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down? You'll be that scary big bad wolf in a moment. So it's okay to take it personally yourself. You can be shy. I'm a shy person. I'm not usually like this. But I'm serious. I can be very calm and quiet. You can be shy. You can be calm. But when you're talking to a public official, when you're making a speech, when you're emailing somebody, create the confident version of yourself and say, I'm going to be confident, I'm going to be loud, I'm going to make sure my voice is heard. And it's okay to be like this. It's like the way kids do pretend play. Think of it as pretend play. I'm going to be my political version character of myself, where I'm going to be extra confident, extra motivated. So when I go, that person knows I am going to be heard, and I should be heard by whoever is talking to me. So make sure to be confident in yourself and sharing your story. So I'm going to put it over to Amy a little bit to explain how to do that.
So you think about Fi, who is now the Commissioner of Early Ed in Connecticut. And she has a PowerPoint about how most elected officials are like toddlers. And as a toddler teacher, she was able to use the same skills that don't back them into a corner, give them choices about what to do, and make everything short and sweet. So when you think about work that's happening now, we heard so much of it this morning, and raise your hand if you stood up this morning and read something. Right? I want what you read, because we want to put that out to the world. So Teddy taped it, I want it in your writing, so please either get it to Ann or Lynn so we can have it and put it on our blogs. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about NAYC, about things that are moving that we need your expertise in. So one is NAYC has been working on an equity initiative, and the board just voted on a new position statement around advancing equity and diversity. And the latest draft is available on the website, but it's something that the organization has not just the board, but people that work across the country developed a position statement. So I would encourage you to look at that. Yikes. I don't know what this is. And then the power to the profession. And this has been a movement about the profession defining itself and not waiting for someone else to do it. And I know we're going to work with Mass AOIC in the future to have an information session about what's happening across the country in Massachusetts. And then, the other one was the, this is a new slideshow. Here it is. It takes a lot of this. The last is, thank you Ann, is the draft to set professional standards and competencies for early childhood educators. As part of the power of the profession, we want to make sure the field is involved in saying this is what early educators need to know, working with children birth through 8. So again, we can't wait for someone else to define it. We have to be part of the process, but it's going to take time and energy. And as Teddy mentioned, on our blog, we have a couple of series. One is called Voices from the Field, and these are the questions that we ask. And we're intentional about the questions that we ask. So when one of the questions is, what should policymakers know about your work? We can take all of those sentiments and send them to policymakers. When we did our drop for the budget, so we went out to every legislator's office and put our budget ask. We put a Voices from the Field of whoever lived in their district. And we had 3 interns that did it, and they said the reaction that people got, they got 1 page full of numbers, and the people that got a face representing those numbers, there was a much better reaction. We know this, we have to take the time to do it. So finally, what you're going to take the next 10 minutes at your table is, as Teddy said, we have to take these opportunities. If you see a candidate, if you see someone running for office, they are looking for information and for votes. And as Teddy said, policymakers are not waking up every day saying, how many bad decisions can I make? But in the absence of hearing anything, they are going to rely on the people who are telling them something. So we have to be the people that are telling them. So you're going to take 8 minutes at your table. So imagine you have entered an elevator with a tall office building. As the doors close, a candidate for governor gets on. What do? And you say, I work in early education, I'm an infant teacher, I'm a preschool teacher. The candidate pauses and thinks and says, I've been hearing a lot about that issue, and my advisors have recommended increased funding. Can you tell me why it's important and what else we can do in our state? This is why they call this the elevator speech, because you only have 30 seconds to make your point. So you shouldn't spend a lot of time on like, well, when I was in 3rd grade, I really thought that, right, you want to get right to the point. So at your table, you are going to create a 30-second elevator pitch and you need 1 research finding. You heard a lot of different statistics this morning. 1 policy example, this pre-K grant helps, this voucher helps families afford it, the food insecurity is a crisis and we need better policy around food, and 1 personal example. So take time at your table, pick 1 thing, whether it's pre-K, infant toddlers, home visiting, whatever you want to think about. What is 1 issue, and come up with a 30-second spiel that you will share with this candidate running for governor. On your mark. Yes, Deb. Go.
And if you don't have a table and you're in chairs, try to make a little circle or some small groups.